Let's get visible, visible. Hello, hello, hello. It is the Let's Get Visible show with JANE-GARDNER. And let's get started. Let's turn on my Zoom. Boom. And we're ready to go. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm always good to get on camera to prove that you are alive. Yes, I am live. And I am not going to go and do that again because I'm live. So welcome. This is JANE-GARDNER and welcome to the Let's Get Visible show. It's every Thursday at 8 a.m. I value consistency, authenticity, and visibility. So this is what I'm doing to be visible. And we're talking about getting visible. And so next time I should have a freebie for you. But today we're going to talk about talking to your influencer. Last week we talked about how to connect with an influencer so that you can get more traffic and more visibility. And today we're going to talk about doing the interview. We'll talk about podcasting later. But for now, we're going to talk about what to do on your interview. So let's get out there. And yes, I'm JANE-GARDNER. I work with my husband in our structural engineering firm for 23 years and still doing it. And out there, we like to travel. I'm an artist and we live in Western Canada, and I have plenty of websites for you to check out. And 2018, I got interested in television. And I have 4 TV channels on Roku and Amazon Fire. They include the business of home-based business, home-based startup TV, business success TV, and Finding Your Purpose TV on the Visibility Broadcasting Network. And from the last few years of doing this, I've developed a TV channel system that can get you from invisible to having your own TV channel. So anyone who's interested, I should have a link, should I? So anyway, we'll have to do a few things next time. So on the Let's Get Visible show, we started with storytelling because it's very important to have stories, connect with your audience so they come back again, and mindset. And we've talked about your website for quite a few episodes. And we are going to be we're talking about your voice, how to use your voice to get some visibility. So we're talking about interviewing, and then you could talk about YouTube, podcasting, books. And then after that, we'll be talking about getting your face on camera, on video, doing a show like I'm doing, social media, speaking. And then we're talking about text, how to use the creation content that you make with your face and your video, make it into text, and publish a book, put it on Medium and other platforms and get visibility that way, and increase your network. So in person, you can do a Zoom, we can do a meetup, we'll talk about that, and summits and events, and networking, because networking is very important to increase your visibility. So we are then interested in interviewing successful show entrepreneurs. We'll do demonstration of different tools, techniques, and trainings on being visible. Right now we're talking about interviewing an influencer. And that's about it. And that's plenty for the year. And so we've already discussed why you should be visible, why you should stop hiding behind your slides. And you need to be the face of your business, show your personality, show up on a regular basis, share your knowledge, and share your value. So people will come back again and again to you, to your website, to see your trainings, and maybe buy from you. So this is one way to get people to know, like, and trust you, is by being visible. So of course, mindset was everything and is everything. If you're not willing, if you're stopping yourself from getting up and going and doing something once a week and being consistent, then you are being held back by the mindset of I'm not worthy. But mindset is everything. When you know that you have knowledge to share and value to share, then you should be able to have the mindset to be consistent in your sharing. Anyway, we discussed that earlier in another show. As well, we had a few episodes on how a website, you can make it so that it talks about your message. It can make you better known to anyone who comes to visit the website by being strategic in what you say and share on your website. So that was a few episodes, so that was quite extensive. And then we talked about how influencers can boost your business and boost your reach and boost your network by you interviewing them, and how to approach the concept of interviewing someone who's a very busy person who is interested maybe in being interviewed or maybe not, and how to get them to be interested. So we talked about how to approach influencers to be interviewed by you, and of course why you want to do this interview process, and the reasons for it to be done by you in terms of your business. So today we're going to talk about the essential steps to maximize your influencer interviewing process. So when you listen to a good interviewer, like Mark Maron, there are certain things they do to keep the interview going and keep it interesting, even if the guest is not very talkative. There are some techniques you can learn in order to make your well-prepared interview as smooth and interesting as possible. First, there are 4 communication key skills that are important for interviewing successfully. So we'll go through each one in turn. So first off, we're going to talk about body language. Body language can say things that your words don't. And even if you're not on camera, people can hear your voice and they can listen, and they can probably know if you're tense, if you're stressed, if you're shy, etc. So if you don't carefully consider, actively control your body language, you could convey something you really don't want to. So good body language means maintaining good posture, make eye contact, and appear confident. You may not be looking at the interviewee if you're just doing an interview through audio, but basically if you're doing one person to person, usually it's quite easy to do in Zoom, and then of course take the recording and make an audio if you don't wish to be on camera. But basically you don't look at the floor or avoid eye contact, don't slump over or sit far back. Project your voice with confidence rather than mumbling, and making it clear. If you're new to interviewing and controlling body language is challenging, then practice. If possible, record your practice and play back the video. When you see yourself talking, it'll be clear what needs to be changed or improved. Also, you should consider what you're going to wear. If it's not on camera, of course, it doesn't really matter, but if you're on camera and decide to do it on camera and keep the recording, you want to make sure that it doesn't clash with the video. White's not terribly good because of glare, and making sure you look professional. It also makes you more confident. So when asking the questions, you need to ask questions that are varied as possible. It's good to ask different types of questions, from open-ended, where the interviewer can talk at length, to clarifying questions that restate what the interview is saying. You have your list of questions prepared, but you can also improvise as long as you don't get off topic. Ask questions to clarify. You can follow up an answer by asking how. You can follow up a question by asking how they felt about something they described. And another good follow-up is to ask for examples, as long as they're prepared to give you examples. During the interview, ask questions on behalf of the interviewee in order to draw out their experience and ideas, and also on behalf of the audience to make sure that both sides are getting what they need out of the interview. So as we mentioned in the previous episode, Get yourself a set of questions that you'd like to ask and then send it to the interviewee. It's a courtesy about a week before so they can be prepared as to what kind of questions will be asked, and maybe they'll have some feedback and change some of the questions or say they don't want to talk about certain things, etc. So make sure that the questions have been agreed on by both you and the interviewee. You are not a journalist. You are giving the interviewee credibility as well as a good resource for them to send out to their audience. So you want to make sure that the questions are agreed on and there's no clash going to happen and no embarrassing moments. You want to make sure it's agreed on as to what the topics are. So during the interview, use active listening. This means fully concentrating on what the speaker is saying with your fullest attention rather than just hearing it. So get rid of distractions and make sure that you listen with intent to understand rather than planning your next response. Active listening includes not only listening but also responding to the speaker with verbal and nonverbal signals that you're paying attention. These clues confirm that you're listening and encourage the speaker to continue their answer. Another technique of active listening is summarizing or paraphrasing what the interviewee has just said. This confirms you understand the meaning of the interview and the answer. In an interview, it's a good way to summarize a long and complex answer for your audience understanding. So if they're telling you the features of whatever they might be selling, then you have to make sure that you repeat some of it so that the audience is aware. And an interview is a time when personal awareness and emotional intelligence are essential. Pay attention to the feelings of your interviewee. Keep the interview focused on them and not you. Don't interrupt or finish the other person's statements. This is one of my bad habits, and I have been called out on this. So make sure, Jane, that you are not doing that, and try to empathize with the interviewee and show appreciation throughout. So conducting your interview, you should have a list of 10 or 12 questions and ideas on follow-up. You have sent it out to the interviewee as well for their preparation, and it guides you when you improvise. Have a script for or outline for the introduction of your interview. Make sure you have a viable bio available. Have a short introduction so it doesn't bore listeners, so already know the person, but enough information so that someone who's never heard of them will be able to keep up. Once you start, you may find that the interviewee answers 2 or more of your questions with one answer. Be careful that you don't ask questions that have already been answered. You can cross off questions as you don't want to accidentally ask them again. As someone who has done interviews, I did a lot of them for Finding Your Purpose TV. I found that my goal was to ask them about finding their purpose for their business, and that was a good lead-in to them just talking about their business, which was fine. We had topic about what their business was, as well as we had some subtopics they wanted to talk about, and I would do a leading question, which was of value to my listeners, to ask the interviewee, and they could continue on. With that kind of structure, we were able to do about a 45-minute interview. So that's probably one of your questions. How long should the interview be? And I find that 45 minutes is sufficient, especially with maybe an intro and an outro. So you have to make sure that the interviewee is comfortable, arrange a space, make sure you get rid of distractions before the interview starts, make sure they're comfortable and ready. Make sure they're aware of when you're going to start and when you have started. So make sure as you go through your questions that the interviewee is still comfortable, and make sure if they're not getting into an uncomfortable direction, pull back and smoothly proceed to the next question. And if you sent these questions to the interviewee, then both of you should be comfortable with the process of the interview and probably know when the interview is going to end. Because in their mind, the interviewee is probably thinking, okay, I've only got these many minutes for this interview, so let's get going. Veer the conversation back to the main point if it goes off topic. Reassure the interviewee that you will check facts they are unsure about and take notes during the interview. And obviously try to write down the main points that the interviewee makes. You can also jot down facts or other things and you want to check and be useful later when you're promoting the interview. And you can mention key topics that you may have covered during the interview near the end so that you can also listen to the interview later or not need to because you've already jotted down all the interesting key points from the interview. Because, of course, when you're promoting the interview, you'll want to have some key points to promote it and get people interested in coming to listen to the interview. So I give the interviewee the chance to promote what they're working on and what they're doing right now. It's very fair. It's called reciprocity, and they have been good enough to give you their time to do the interview with you. Then you should allow them to have a benefit as well. And if you have any edits, any coughs or silences that you want to take out, make a note later on that you're going to do that in the editing. And you also make sure that you want to make sure that your interview subject is ready to promote. What I did with my Finding Your Purpose TV interviews is I always made it clear at the very beginning, I'd love to promote whatever you're doing right now, and I will be making an end card with your name, your website, how to contact you, as well as whatever it is you're promoting and a link to that. And so I would create that end card, and we would go over it just prior to doing the interview, because of course these were always on video, and then we would correct anything that they wanted to. So you can always edit out any problems later. Take note of when the problem occurred and jot down it, and make sure you go back and check it out later and do an edit. At the end of the interview, thank the interviewee and let them know how much it means to you. You must reassure them that you'll make them sound fine and give them a time limit as to what is going to sort of be the timeline for them to receive a copy so they can promote it. So go through your notes while it's still fresh and make a summary of key points and think a little about how you will describe and promote the interview. And if necessary, fact check any points that your interviewer wasn't sure about. And after going through, list the key steps you take in following up with the interviewee. There are various things you need to do for your follow-up, but usually the steps include confirming your details of the interviewee, adding any additional thoughts, details on when and where the interview will be published, discussion of any parts they feel should be left out, and one more heartfelt thanks for their time. These are all information that you would send out to them, and then you're going to publish your interview. As an audio, it's fairly easy to publish. Get any kind of software that will get the audio onto your website. So you can post it publicly, share it with your subscribers, add a link to your autoresponder, promote it on social media and any other places, such as in a podcast RSS feed that you have. And you can identify any public relations groups or other professional groups that might enjoy your interview and send out a press release to these groups, and they're likely to share it with others, thus gaining more exposure for you. You shall also get more out of your interview by repurposing it, taking one piece of the content and spinning it into multiple other types of content, whether it's text or well, you could create a video these days, or are you going to basically do snippets of the audio? You get more mileage out of your content, and by posting different media, you can also reach a wider audience. So, some of the ways that you can repurpose include writing a transcript, turn it into a blog post, turn it into an ebook, make a video, using slides or images, summarizing major points. Or you could take a number of your interviews that you do and bundle them together into a book. Use snippets of your interview for social media posts. If you have a good piece of content, it's a shame to let opportunities go to waste. So repurposing it allows you to reformat content and publish it in many places, getting more exposure. So the whole purpose from doing interviews, audios, is to expand your reach and expand your visibility. Because you will be sending a copy of this to your influencer, and they will put it where they wish to promote to their audience, because of course it's also promoting value about the influencer. So also you should reflect on your interview once you've done the process and ways that you can make it more smoother. You should track your results, so go and look at all the metrics from when you send it out onto social media or into a podcast, and the metrics may be based on web traffic or downloads or signups. If you're using an opt-in lead, social media such as shares, new readers to your blog, etc., because you have to make sure that your goals are being met by doing the interview. If it's not reaching goals, figure out why, make changes. Why it's more, maybe figure out why one may be more successful than others, assess mistakes and successes. What's the best part? Where could I have done better? There could be an aha moment or a part of it that you could thought of that you could have done really well. And think about parts of the interview where things don't go as planned or where you felt it was weak. So jot down some idea of ways to avoid mistakes and follow up with the interviewee to see how it helped them as well. Tell them that you're doing research. Obviously you do on your metrics, and you're wondering how many, maybe what kind of feedback they got, or the metrics, or anyone signed up on their side, etc. to see. And so they may be getting other offers to interview as a result of yours. So follow up. Keep in touch with your influencer, because as you grow your business, as you grow your interviews, etc., you may find that they are interested more in doing things with you because they know you. So some of the action plan is you could list the communication skills you need, jot down 5 general questions you would ask an interviewee, and identify 3 ways you will use your first interview after you've conducted it. So these are some things you can do about it. So first off, I'm sure you have lots of questions, but I will leave them for today. And the Let's Get Visible show is every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific or 11 a.m. Eastern. And you can get on the list at http://jgtips.com/lets. As well, I have the Let's Go Live show, which is all about getting on camera and doing lives. And it's every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific. It has a different email list at https://jane-gardner.com/live for tips, freebies, and checklists on going live. So on the Let's Get Visible show, next time we will be talking about podcasting, I think. We'll look at some of the places that you can go and put your interview in, and well, I'm not sure how many are free, but nominally available, and with various other things that you can do with it. So we'll start on podcasting next week, because I also do podcasting. I have 3 podcasts. Well, I have two podcasts plus 1 video cast, which is basically like this, a video recording. You can have those on iTunes and on camera. So yeah, I've got 2 of those and 1 of those. So I've had plenty of experience. I can talk about the company that I work with, and basically about the technology and how you can use it really quite inexpensively for doing your interviews and connecting with others by doing interviews and getting visible. So thank you for listening.